previously roughed it in. And this is fine-tuned in. I will even fine-tune it even more before I put the rest of the concrete in, which I hope to do that later today. This is called a good neighbor fence. It means it looks good on both sides. The neighbor likes it as well. But the style is board on batten, and these particular right here, I recessed them to add this strength. That's going to be actually 2 foot even higher, and then after everything's done, I'll cut it off and cap it. But the strength is this board. The T-post there is the actual property line between me and the neighbor, and as you can see, I've come off of the property line 5 feet. I'm going to plant some bushes along in here to landscape the outer part of the land, the perimeter of the property. And here, these are 12 foot tall 4x4s. The actual height of the fence is going to be 8 foot on this side, and along the front or the side of the house it's going to be 6 foot. So this joint right here this corner right here will elevate up at an angle 2 more feet, and then it'll be 2 feet all the way down. And that additional 8 foot is going to provide a bigger windbreak for the greenhouse, which will be there. And also we could go onto our deck and in our underwear if we want to, and see, it's elevated. You wouldn't be able to see into the back of our house. Anyway, that's it so far. The setting things up like this, roughing it in, also serves a purpose. It keeps the boards from warping. If they sit out into weather very long, they'll start warping all kinds of shapes. We're going to mix the concrete now and pour it into the hole. We're actually going to mix the concrete in the hole because my concrete is over there. They weigh 80 pounds a piece. I use the wheelbarrow to lug these things. I'm not a young pup anymore. So I'll set this up and I'll show you how I mix it in the hole. Before I mix, I wanted to show you the string. I did the bottom already, and there's a string. It goes all the way down, and I make sure that the post is barely touching it. Very, very close to it anyway. And check the level. Both this side and this side before I put the concrete in. So now we'll put the concrete in. Check level, check it against the string. Perfect. Perfect. If it was out of level a little bit, we would maneuver the bottom of the board because this is already set up top. So now these holes already have water in them. I didn't add that water. It came from the property because it's wet, and they already have a good bit of water in them, so that's the reason why I didn't mix them in the wheelbarrow and then dump it in from the wheelbarrow. So we mix it in the hole, and it's pretty common practice to do. And then we shape that dome. You concrete in the 4x4s. You can see there's a little bit of a dome. And you want the water to be able to hit here and roll off. Final adjustments made to the fence line, and all 22 4x4s are concreted in. Domed on top so the rain will run down the post and over the edge instead of puddling. I want to give you a close-up of this one. This particular joint, if you look there, that was done with a hammer and chisels, and man, after doing 2 or 3 of those, it was wearing me out. So I decided to go a little smarter and make a template and use my router. This is my template. You'll see I've cut it out to fit over the 4x4. So I just have to mark above the distance for the router guide. One measurement. Close up, look what the hole looks like. Nice and clean. I came back out to kind of explain this part because I noticed I didn't. So you'll see this brace here, this board, and this board braces the 4x4 left to right. And you can see it's pretty level. You do that all the way down and you have it, and you have them left to right. Well, when you get them done that way and you make your holes, then you put a board in one there, and then you hold it up right here on the outside. This one's already in, but you hold it on the outside and you put the level on it, and then with your right hand while you're holding this and your left hand making its level down here, you hold it with this hand like that, and you come across with your right hand and you mark this board that's laying on the outside here and the depth of the board here. And that way, once you cut it and you recess it in both sides, or you put it in each recessed hole, then you check the level this way, and if it's good, you put a screw in. And that way you have it level this way, front to back, and this way, left to right. You do it all the way down, one at a time. So, I did this one, it's level. When you come down, do this one, it's leveled, and the next one all the way down. And you'll notice that some of the boards, like this one, you can probably see here, they have a little bit of a bow in it, and wood's not perfect, it never ever is. So when you're doing things, you have to compromise looks and function, aesthetics to function or purpose of the fence. This will have a cap rail on it, and when I screw it in, it should pull it up some. And over here you can see the cap rail, how it's tight. And like I'd said before, the board being in, recessed in here, there's a lot of strength going downward, and this is actually almost, well, it's 3.5 here, 1.5 here, so it's 5 inches width. And so there's a lot of strength going downward, and the most of the weight is going to be in downward. This one down here is simply a back and forth. So it's just screwed in, and there it's nearly level. Doesn't have to be perfectly level for me, as long as the primary function here is to leave a small gap and evenly all the way across. And so you run a balance between the look on the bottom, the finished look on the bottom, and the level. And so I always, the way I do it is I compromise between the finished look and the level. And then I'm constantly making adjustments. Level left and right, up and down, and most of it's done before you concrete it in. But as we go, if the fence doesn't look good, then I'll make little adjustments as we go.